All right, let's get into some football talk. Let's start off with the 49ers in this division. So we'll start with some questions. Start off with the QB1 here. Is Jimmy G a lock to be quarterback one for week one? And if he is, how long of a leash does he have? When does Trey Lance get his shot?
I feel like he does start at least week one, but his leash has to be very short because, I mean, from what I've seen of Trey Lance in training camp so far, he's looked good. I mean, he's looked mobile. He's athletic. He's young. He should be the starter week one, but I feel like they're just going to roll out Jimmy G because that's what everyone's expecting. That's what they've been saying all off season. But I don't think it's long before Trey Lance takes over that number one role.
I don't know. Shanahan said that Jimmy G looks like a whole different player.
And he also
It could
said
be a
that,
good thing.
Coach speak, baby. Coach speak.
Yeah, he said that he'd be surprised if Lance were to start week one. It's hard. Like sometimes we're like, you can't take training camp like with the biggest grain of salt, but at the same time, it's just like we want to pick and choose.
Practice.
We want to pick and choose though when we hear that good things about or bad things about a player. But I think I'm not surprised if Trey Lance is playing out of his mind in training camp. I think Jimmy G will start though, unfortunately. But this team is Super Bowl ready, so I think his leash is very short. If he screws up the first couple of weeks, he could be benched.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree as well. Definitely agree with you guys there. But I think Trey Lance probably gets a shot within the first 6 weeks or so if Jimmy G's struggling. If Jimmy G's hot, I don't know if he gets a shot. I
don't know if it even lasts that long.
Yeah. If he's struggling at all, it's going to be early. But I don't know if he struggles with this offense. He's got good pieces around him. It's not made. It's a difficult offense. He's going to do a lot of dump off passes to Debo and Ayuk, and they'll make plays happen. They're a run first team anyways. So we shall see. All right. Which running back do you prefer to draft on this team? Got Raheem Mostert going currently as RB28, 75th overall, or rookie Trey Sermon, drafted in the third round, RB34, 94th overall.
I think Sermon is better value. I think he'll see the field more, not even because he's more skilled, but also because Raheem Mostert has like an injury history. So who knows how much he'll be on the field. So yeah, I think, and they traded up so they could draft him. They also got some other running back.
Elijah Mitchell in 6th as well.
No, not.
They also have Jeff Wilson.
And Jeff Wilson coming back as well as a veteran.
They added all right, you guys. Oh, Wayne Gallman
as well. They have a ton of running backs.
They have a gang of running backs.
One of them's not making the roster.
That could be their offensive line.
Whether it's a 6th round pick or Wayne Gallman, one of them's not making the roster. But I still think I prefer Mostert. Even the price isn't too different. And I don't know how much work Trey Sermon's going to get right away. Obviously, we just mentioned there's another rookie in camp, Wayne Gallman. Jeff Wilson's probably still going to be involved. They liked him when players got out. So I don't really know how this backfield's going to shake out, but I know Mostert has proven talent in the past. Obviously, the injury risk is a huge concern, but I think that's baked into why he's going as a flex running back compared to an RB2 like he produces when he is healthy. So I still think I prefer Mostert, but I do like Trey Sermon as well. I do like both.
Yeah, little side note, Mostert has never ran for more than 137 times in a single season.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
It makes sense. He obviously doesn't stay healthy for a lot of them, and he wasn't always a starter. So
they also still have JaMychal Hasty, but he's on the practice squad.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was just searching running backs.
They have a league.
49ers.
They have a league of running backs.
Yeah, they got a bunch of them. Obviously, a couple of them won't make the team, but we'll see how that shakes out throughout the preseason here. So definitely something to monitor. But getting into the next question, where are you drafting George Kittle? Are you drafting him ahead or behind of Darren Waller?
Give me Waller, the baller.
Give me Waller.
I'm taking Kittle.
In the past couple seasons, Waller has been so consistent. We all know Kittle has that injury-ridden history coming along with him. And, I mean, Darren Waller played out of his mind last year. So, I mean, I'd rather take that knowing most likely he's going to be healthy throughout the whole season over taking the chance on Kittle. I know he's a special talent. He's great. I mean, but I would just have that availability over ability.
But at the same time, like last year, I think he would have played at the end of the season if the 49ers were in some sort of like playoff hunt. but since they weren't, like he might be psychotic. Like he's probably
He's
been in the
nuts.
head a lot. I think he's like the best yards after a catch tight end. Like he's never going down. He's like the opposite of Zach Ertz. But I think as long as he can stay healthy, and I'm sure he's played with plenty of injuries where he should have sat out, but he is nuts. I always think about him when he drove that dude into the ground and just laughing.
And he got up laughing.
God, that animal.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he throws up before every game too, or something crazy like that. Like he's wild.
I'm not need to know that.
I'm not turning my head sideways if you draft Darren Waller ahead, because I mean he proved that he can be number 2, if not number 1 best tight end. So why not? It's more of like your opinion on who.
Yeah, I think we're splitting hairs here. I think both of them should be drafted probably in the 2nd or the 3rd. I think both of them should definitely be taken before the end of the 3rd round in 12-team leagues for sure. Both of them are obviously elite tight ends. We're seeing Kelsey go in the 1st round in most leagues right now. So Kittle and Waller are the next 2 that definitely need to be picked up early. I'd still prefer Kittle just a little bit. Obviously it's close, but Kittle has obviously had inconsistent quarterback play with Nick Mullins and whoever else has been back there with injuries and stuff, whatnot. But if Jimmy G ends up getting banged up again, we obviously know Trey Lance could also be a pretty good quarterback. So I'm not too worried about his quarterback play this year. So I'm drafting Kittle. As long as he's healthy, I think he will be the better one. But Waller's right there too. I think we're splitting hairs. You're probably taking them very close to each other in drafts. So
I actually heard something that said this. They said, if you know what you're doing, you don't let Kelsey go out of the 1st round. I think that's a little far of a reach, but just because you brought up Kelsey,
Q, put this in perspective. He basically finished last season with the same numbers as Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just on the narrative of he's on the wrong side of 30.
Yeah, Q, we already know that you hate Kittle. I mean, Kelsey, we talked about
I don't hate him. I'm just
Chiefs episode. You said
what?
He wasn't going to be top 5 or something, or top 3 or something?
Top. Might not going to be number 1.
Oh, okay. Whatever. Not a Kelsey fan. Kelsey's going in the 1st round in most leagues for sure. Kelsey's worth that pick.
And if he
Number
didn't,
1
and
tight
you
end
get him in the
5 straight
2nd,
years.
that's a steal.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get in some cap or no cap for the 49ers. Start off with Brandon Ayuk. He is being overdrafted at wide receiver 26, 62nd overall. Cap or no cap?
I think it's cap.
Yeah, slightly cap. Guys being drafted after him that I would choose: OBJ, Sutton, Robbie Anderson, DJ Chark, and then like Devontae Smith and Golladay, depending on their injuries. I think all those guys drafted lower have more value than Brandon Ayuk, who did have a good season, especially for being a rookie, but I don't know, a little too much hype going into him.
So Q, you're on no cap.
Yeah, you're
side,
no
right?
cap.
Whatever, no cap.
You guys, I know you're a big.
You
Ayuk
always
guy,
get
so
that
you're definitely
confused.
saying cap.
I am. He finished wide receiver 36 as a rookie and missing 4 games and having those, like, any quarterbacks play with him. Like,
Literally anybody.
Yeah,
Like
I think he
Nick
showed a lot of
Mullins.
flashes, for sure. I'm also gonna. I'm kind of torn. I think he's kind of being drafted around where he should be being drafted. Ayuk is around a high end flex for me in my ranks. So, yeah, I'd probably take Ayuk around that spot. I don't think he's being overdrafted personally.
let's go.
Yeah, he saw an average of 8 targets in like 7 games. I think I don't know if I wrote this right. It's either when Debo is active or inactive. So maybe
Probably
inactive.
active,
Yeah,
but
okay,
probably
yeah.
inactive when he gets a lot of targets.
Yeah, I got it confused, but he had some good games with him, and then there were a couple games where both of them were out, or one of them were out, but he had his fair share. And Kittle was out also, so who knows if that's going to definitely take a cut into his production.
Yeah, for sure. Next one here, Debo Samuel is being underdrafted at wide receiver 37, 92nd overall.
Cap.
Now that
I'm sorry, Sean.
Yeah.
is no cap.
That
for
is
me.
cap. Please
No
explain.
cap.
Please explain.
Debo Samuel, when he's healthy, is one of the focal points on this offense. I think people are obviously his injury history is baked into his
That's
ADP,
scary.
scaring you a little bit, moving him down. But he is still super young. I think there are a little bit of freak injuries. We've seen Keenan Allen be a guy in the past where he gets injured year after year, and you think he's injury prone, and then for the last 5 years, he's been a top 12 wide receiver. So
No, you can't compare those two.
you can compare a lot of injuries. I mean,
No, you can't compare Keenan Allen to Debo Samuel.
yeah, you
A
can.
top 10 receiver to Debo Samuel. I don't even know what you'd call him.
Keenan Allen was like the 19th best wide receiver, then had 2 injury prone seasons. So he wasn't a top 10 wide receiver before he started being called injury prone.
Would you like me to
I-
go over the injuries? Because I have them all right here.
I mean, if you we can save it until you get to your bold take. I hear what you're saying. The injuries is what scares me, but other than that, I still think he's being underdrafted. I still think he should be drafted as a flex option rather than a wide receiver 4. Personally.
Okay.
All right. We'll get into that in a little bit here. We'll continue the talk of the wide receivers. Last cap or no cap, though, this 49ers backfield has too many mouths to feed and may end up being irrelevant. Cap or no cap?
No cap.
Easy, no cap. Easy.
Cap. I think they'll be.
We just talked about
guy.
They had a whole roster of fucking running backs.
Yeah, but they're not all going to.
They're not going to be able to pick one.
Yeah,
Okay, but still, go ahead, Sean.
I'm torn. It might end up being irrelevant. They might not. I'm kind of on the fence on this one because we saw guys be productive when that first running back got hurt, like whatever running back it was, but it was so hard to predict last year. Like Jerick McKinnon was the guy, and then they benched him the next week. And then Jeff Wilson was the guy, and he got hurt.
But see, look, they're not scared to, if you don't produce, they're not scared to not play you. Jerick McKinnon had so many opportunities last year and did absolutely nothing. Maybe he had a game, but most of the opportunities he had, he didn't do shit.
Yeah. It might end up being irrelevant. I could easily see that happening, but I still think whatever guy is at the top has some relevancy, though. But that's just going to be too hard for me to predict. That's why I'm a little bit nervous. All right, let's get into our bold takes and favorite targets. No.
I want you to go first, please.
All right. We'll start off with me and T-Gods then, because we're going to go back and forth here for a second. I'll go first. Debo Samuel will finish as a top 24 wide receiver. Now, look, I already mentioned I like Ayuk, and I think that's just because I like this offense a lot. I think both of them are going to be heavily involved in this offense with Kittle. Kittle's obviously, we already know he's going to be a major target, and I don't think there's going to be a lack there of targets. Their defense is good, but I don't think it's great. There are still some holes that could be exploited, so they're going to have to throw to keep up in games. I know they're a run-first team, but this running backfield, as we talked about, is kind of a nightmare mess. I don't know how consistent it's going to be. And they use Debo and Ayuk in ways where they're basically running backs. Like they're going to get 5 or 6 catches just catching dump offs or wide receiver screens or literally almost handoffs, essentially, is what Debo Samuel catches. I think he had like 400 receiving yards last year, and he had more yards after the catch than he actually had receiving yards because that's how short the passes were being thrown. Like it was crazy.
That's crazy.
Now, can I ask why you picked the number 24?
That's just a wide receiver two in 12-team leagues.
Okay.
So he'll be a low end wide receiver 2, in my opinion. And I also think Ayuk will be. I think there's going to be some weeks where it's going to be Ayuk, and I think there's going to be some weeks where it's Debo. So I think it's going to be a split. But I think both of them are going to be solid this year, personally. T-Gods, you can go into your anti-Debo tour.
Okay. They say there's no such thing as being injury prone, but there definitely is. Especially with Ayuk with his glass legs. Sorry. Going back to 2015, he started his problems with his hamstring. 2015, he missed 7 games with a hamstring. He missed 3 games in 2016 with a hamstring. 2017, he played 3 games and broke his fibula. 2020, he had a Jones fracture that needed surgery. 2020 again, 3 games and another 3 games. And he's going to get hurt again.
Did he not play in the Super Bowl? Sorry. Did he play in the Super Bowl? When they went I mean, probably not.
How the fuck are we supposed to know that, man?
I don't know. I don't know if he was he on the team at that point?
Where'd he come from? All right, well, now we're going.
You guys mentioned some of the injuries were in college. Like it wasn't from 2015.
Yeah.
He was only a rookie a couple seasons ago. Anyways, so injury history does scare me.
Inside the top 24. But Brandon Ayuk will finish inside the top 24. So last year he missed 4 games. He had doesn't matter, but if he kept the same pace and played those 4 games, he would have had 80 receptions, 996 yards, and 8 touchdowns. And he had Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard throwing to him last year. With a healthy team, Kittle's going to open up the field a little bit. Hopefully Debo plays, but you never know. Brandon Ayuk over Debo. Sorry, Sean.
I respect it. I think Ayuk's good too. I can't knock you. I have them very close in my ranks. I have Ayuk a little bit higher, but I just think Debo's being slept on. So I think Debo could also finish as a wide receiver too. But obviously the injury history is why he's being drafted later. So I understand it, but I still like Debo. I'm still taking that risk this year.
Take
No
it.
doubt.
Take
And
it,
if you can
please
get him,
take it.
if you can get him cheaper, if you can get him at wide receiver 37, eat him up.
Don't.
Please don't.
Please do it.
You might injure him, eating him up.
All right, let's get into the next team here. So we have the Seattle Seahawks.
Whoa.
Oh, wait. I forgot. Usually I'm
me and
last.
Q didn't even get a chance to speak.
Yeah, usually Sean goes
Usually
last.
I'm last, so I'm always ready to move on. All right, Q, you go.
Damn, Q,
Keep it
we're
quick.
just off the pod.
Yeah,
We got fired.
he's got marriage
My
on his
bad.
mind. Just keep it quick. I think a target for this team is Trey Sermon. We spoke about there being a lot of running backs coming into the season, but they drafted up for him, so they have to have some sort of faith in him being talented, maybe more talented than Mostert. Didn't really rush much in college, but he did have a 193-yard game against Clemson, so there's potential there to be a workhorse back in this offense. They definitely need one with Mostert never really playing a full season.
Yeah, I respect that take. Trey Sermon is a good target,
Don't hate it, especially in Dynasty.
Yeah.
especially in Dynasty. All right, Matt, what do you got for us?
All right, this might be the hottest one of all, but I'm going to say George Kittle finishes outside the top 5 in tight ends this year. Like we said, Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk are both back healthy. Like Sean said, they're just going to be eating up targets like their handoffs. I mean, there's going to be a lot of mouths to feed on this offense. Jimmy G isn't the best quarterback. He was on that Super Bowl team because of their defense, not because of his quarterback play. And I just don't see Kittle staying healthy this entire season. I hate to say it, but I feel like it's been the past it feels like the past 2 seasons that he's just been riddled with injuries and he cannot seem to escape them no matter how insane he is. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and say not top 5.
One year you had the
That's
Kittle
not
cut.
taking Kittle this year.
I did. Believe me, if he falls to me, I'm scooping him in a heartbeat. But I'm just tempering expectations because that offense is looking healthy. And I don't know. There's just a lot of young talent there. It's going to be a lot harder for him to see the target share that he's been seeing.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, I hear you. I respect it, but I'm taking Kittle. I think he's still number 2. for me.
I'm not saying don't draft Kittle. I'm not saying that at all.
All right. I hear you. Just you're making me nervous, man. I love Kittle.
Sorry.
Don't scare me like that. All right.